Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Healing Conversation. My name is Einav Avni, and with me today is Monica Bozinov. Hi, Monica. So lovely to have you here.
Hi, Einav. I'm so happy to be here.
So, tell us a little bit about you and what brought you to where you are today.
Well, so today I work as a coach. I focus mainly on helping entrepreneurs with um, high performance achievements and also creating financial results from them for them. And I do that by focusing on the unconscious blocks that we have in our bodies. And that was not something that I ever thought that I would do from. I ended up here due to my own journey, so to speak.
hmm And first of all, I love it. Unconscious blocks. I constantly talk about the unconscious mind, and my daughters have banned me from mentioning the unconscious mind ever again. So
Yeah.
I love that we go there straight away. But tell me a little bit about that journey that you had to go through to get to where you are today.
Yeah, so it's actually now it's 20 years ago, the whole thing kind of since I started this shift. So 20 years ago, I was diagnosed burnt out and depressed. And I, leading up to that, I actually thought I was going crazy because I have a lot of mental illness in my family. And I was going like, oh, I'm going down the same road as my grandfather, who was like, he was from he was 40, rest of his life, had a severe diagnosis. And I knew that that was in my family. And, everything you learn, you hear that those things are genetic and they follow the family line. And so it felt kind of like I had this thing hanging over me. And then when I didn't feel good, it was like, okay, now it's happening. I'm going crazy. That was my belief, right? So when the doctor came and said, like, when I finally met the doctor and he said, no, you're not crazy, you were just burnt out and depressed, on the inside I was going, yay. Because I had read up on depression. I knew that depression and burnout was something that you could actually fix. It was figure outable, so to say. I just didn't know the how. So that's when I started exploring, like, what do I do now? Where do I go from here? How do I solve this? And I remember the first thing that I did, I bought this book about how to say no, because I knew that I had some boundary issues. Whenever someone wanted me to do something, I was always the good girl and always being there for everyone else, always people pleasing, and it was exhausting. So that was my first step. And I remember I read the book and it had very many like tips and tricks and how to say no, right? But it was still so difficult. And I remember being on the phone and a friend calling me, and she was like, Monica, you know what happened? And then, like, this tsunami of her stuff coming at me on the phone. And you need to come right away. And my husband was in the hallway next to me as I was on the phone, and he was going, and I was, okay, yes. And then I understood that there was kind of more, even though I was thinking, this is what I'm going to do, I couldn't follow through, right? And then I found this book about um, natural remedies and techniques. And I started reading and learning. And he wrote about heart math center and heart coherence. And I tried heart coherence, and that was the first time that I realized that I can actually, if I can change how my body react, then I can change how my mind is working. And that was a total like epiphany for me. It was, wow, this is a whole new world, right? So then I just went down the rabbit hole, and in a few years, I fixed my chronic pain, my depression, my anxiety, I had severe allergies, asthma, rashes. I couldn't have fruit, I couldn't have salads. I stayed indoors. I live in Scandinavia. uh, on a sunny day during the spring and summer, I couldn't go outdoors because of the pollen and my allergy reactions. It was it was bad, right? And I improved. I was able to improve by changing how I felt. So I never worked on my physical issues. I always worked on the emotional baggage, and that's what shifted everything for me.
Mm. So tell me a little bit about this heart cohesion. That sounds fascinating. It's
Yes, the hot coherence, it's so amazing. It's so simple, like really short. You just think of something or someone you're grateful for. So with when I do this with my clients, I have them, if they're moms, I have them think of their children, right? And then you think of your children until you can feel like a smile on your face,
like this.
right? And then you go down to your heart and you feel grateful for your heart. And then the heart starts sending positive signals to the brain, because we know now, right, that there is always more information going from the body, from your heart, from your gut to the brain than the other way around.
Yes.
And the brain is actually just, the brain is blind, it's deaf. It can only deal with the information it's given. So when you start giving different information to the brain will have a different experience of what reality is.
Yeah.
And that's like, I changed how I perceived reality and how I perceived my body. And I mean, I have no medical training whatsoever, right? I'm a layperson. I only have my own experience, but I know now that the pain that I was feeling, that was my own stuff, my emotional stuff that was manifesting as physical pain, because I was always the good girl. I was always smiling. I was always happy. No one knew how I felt on the inside.
Mm.
And I had to deal with my own stuff. And then it started changing. And yeah, it took a few years, right? But I don't have physical pain anymore. And I don't need, you know, medication for my allergies. And it was just work that needed to be done.
Mhm. I love what you're saying, and I want to hear more. Actually, I mean, first of all, I totally agree with you. Right, a lot of the time, chronic pain, chronic illness, people do feel that there is something that is structurally wrong in the body, and so they go down this route of how do I fix this?
Mhm.
But actually, what we're saying is that yes, maybe there is also some structural situations going on, but it's really about the emotions, the all of these things that we haven't expressed, that we haven't processed even. And so when you go through, when you take the time and you do process everything that is buried inside of you or bottled up inside of you, you can get results that
Yeah.
sometimes they're instant, sometimes takes sometimes it obviously depends on every situation. So in this walk that you do with the gratitude, which I love, did you move it around, like being grateful for the illness, for example, and the messages that it was bringing you, or how did you use that?
Yeah, as I said, I never worked on the physical symptom. I never did work on that.
Mm,
Um, I, I think I got intuitively from the beginning that the physical issues were just an expression for something else.
mm,
Because I never thought of them as, I don't think I ever had a conscious thought of them being the problem. I kind of got that, okay, there's I have stuff to do, right?
mm,
Because there was no obvious reason for me to be as ill as I was.
yeah,
Uh, so it's hard to understand now looking back how I knew that,
yeah,
right? It was
yeah,
just like, okay, I understand that I have stuff that I need to work through. So I started, because then like a couple of years later, I was looking. The book it also talked about EMDR, which is talk therapy with eye movement.
Oh, okay. I have heard of this.
Yes. So I was looking. I was checking out. I was googling. Can I find someone in my hometown who does EMDR? Because I thought, wow, this sounds fascinating, right? And that's when I stumbled upon something called EFT. And there's this guy, Gary Craig, who made from TFT, he constructed EFT. And I ended up at his website, and there was this manual, 84 pages, I think it was, about EFT. And it said, it basically said EFT works for everything, right? And then in the end of the manual, he said, do you think this sounds too good to be true? And I was going, yes, I'm not stupid. Nothing works for everything, right? And then he writes in that manual, just make a list of everything you want to fix and tap for 90 days. And by that time, I didn't have a job, and there are only so many jobs you can, apply for every day, right?
Mm.
So I was like, okay, I don't have money, but I do have time. And I made the list and I started tapping. And he said, and this is the most fascinating thing, he said, in the book or in the manual, it says, do this for 90 days. And by the end of the 90 days, people will start asking you what you've done. And I was like, okay, I'm up for that. Let's see what happens. I didn't have that many expectations.
Mm.
And I did. And this was in January 2006. And for Easter, or for Easter holiday, like those, my dad was working as a teacher back then. So he would have break for a whole week. And my parents came to visit. So that's approximately 3 months, right?
Mm.
And we were sitting in our kitchen, and we had just moved into a new house. My parents had never been in that house before. And as we were eating, my mom looks at me, and moms, they see stuff, right?
They do.
They do. And she looked at me and she said, Monica, what have you done? And now I was like, well, I did not get it, because she had never been in that kitchen before. Like, what could I possibly have done, And it took me a couple of minutes, and I don't know. What have I done?
What do you mean?
Yeah. And she said, your posture is so much better. Because I always had my shoulder up under my ears, and I was kind of tilted forward, because in that position of kind of
Protection.
being, yeah. And as she said that, I was going, oh, wait a minute, I actually know what I have done. And then I kind of had to come clean, right? And I said, because my dad had a friend, while I was growing up, my dad had a friend who was a physiotherapist, and he was kind of dabbling with acupuncture and the kinesiology thing.
Mm.
So I said, well, you remember what he did? It's kind of the same thing, and I've been trying it out. And my mom was like, yeah, I can see that. So by those 3 months, now I had I had evidence.
Mm.
Because I felt that it was working, but sometimes you fool yourself. You want something to work. So I was kind of skeptical towards my own reactions. Am I just making this up?
Mm.
Do I really want this? Like, is it just that I want this to work so bad that I start believing in it? And then that was kind of confirmation that no, this actually does work.
Mm.
And then, woo, I did even more.
And so is that still something that you do on a, is it a daily practice still, or maybe not?
Well, now yeah, I've been tapping since 2006. Now it's more like I don't have a daily praxis, but I think, um I always observe myself, right? So I do this intentionally. I make sure I have coaches that I can do this with. Um, because when you do the deep stuff, you can't do that alone.
Hmm.
You need help, right? Because we have blind spots.
Yeah.
But I do find myself still, procrastinating, and I'm very like, oh, I'm doing it, and then I start tapping. So I'm observing myself every day, and I know my patterns now.
Mm.
And then when there seems to be, I have this friend, and we do like she's my tapping buddy. And then like when I do face, like when I do find that resistance, and if I can't figure it out myself, we talk, and I tell her everything, and she says, okay, Monica, so what's this about? And it's like, okay, because I have, like, my thing is my thing. I know what's my I know my thing, right?
Mm.
But I don't want to see it for myself. So that's why you need someone holding up the mirror and say, okay, so what's going on now? And I know what's going on because it's the same story all over again, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you just do it. You have to the more you move forward, you have to deal with your thing at the next level. New level, new devil.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
that's what you always need to be doing. So, I mean, I could have satisfied, I could have been satisfied with, okay, I don't have chronic pain anymore.
Mm.
But I want more than that.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. I fixed all of these issues. And then I was like, oh, wow, no one knows about this. I have to share this with the world, that you can actually, like, heal yourself just working on your emotional baggage and your stuff.
Mm.
And then I started coaching business, only to find that, I couldn't stand up for myself and speak and share my message. I couldn't charge, I couldn't earn. I had massive blocks
Mm.
to earning, charging, stepping up, being seen, being heard, using my voice. Right. And that's my thing, my voice, using my voice and speaking the truth and saying things as they are, right? That's the thing that I come up against all the time, because next level, next level, next level, right? There are always new insights that need to be spoken. That's my gift. But it's also the resistance and the block.
Yeah.
And that continues. And so it's because tapping in itself, you can release the block, but then you need to change your behavior.
Right. And
Now you
how do you know how to change the behavior? Because I think that's a lot of the time something that people really struggle with.
Yeah. So now I need to look, okay, so I've been doing this. Now I want, right? Now I want to build a business. Well, then I have to market myself. Okay, how do I do that? So I had to learn about marketing, right?
Mm.
And then I had to release the blocks around actually presenting what I do in a way, because when we start a business, I think we all go through the oh, right, nobody gets me. Right, the competition is so hard, the people that I want to serve, they don't want to pay, and we put the blame up there, right?
Mm.
And now I had to go, well, if they don't get me, that means I don't have a clear enough message.
Yeah.
So now, once again, my stuff. So I think this is, I think I've always been, big on personal responsibility. But moving forward as an entrepreneur, that just, you are responsible for your own results, right? And that just, it you can just continue to evolve in that area.
Yeah. You never really arrive, right? That's the
Yeah.
that's the
Like
thing.
there's always more stuff to do. Next level, there's more stuff to do, right? Can I handle clients like that? Can I, because if you do want to move forward in a coaching business and make more money, you have to start serving people that are more successful than yourself. And that's another, right?
Yeah.
Another level of resistance. Can I offer to serve these people? They are so successful. And there's another resistance. So you always have new levels of resistance, and then you can tap away some of the resistance, and then there's always the I've never done this before. This is a first. And doing something for the first time, there's always going to be resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one that I have started doing now because I don't have like the same level of blocks that I used to have. So now very often it's like, oh, I've never done that. Right. This is a first, right? Of course it's
Mm.
hard. I've never done this.
Mm.
And then it's like, oh, yeah, that's the whole thing. I've never done this before. And that's okay. It's scary because it's a first.
I love that to actually. You were so right. Of course, whenever you come, you're about to do something that you've never done. You do have kind of a different wall around you that you might have later on in your journey.
Mhm.
But this to allow yourself to recognize that this is because you've never done this, and that you just have to acknowledge that this is where you are at. So I
Mhm.
think it really does help to release some of this anxiety around how do I make the next step? What does the next step, what does it needs to have in it? Where am I going? All of these kind of questions. You can ask all of these things, but instead of holding you back and saying I'm terrified and I can't move, say
Mhm.
it's okay. You
Yeah.
just need to start. What will come will teach you either way, either something that you want to do more or something that you want to do less of. But that would be, show up with curiosity rather than with fear.
Acknowledge the fear.
Mm,
All healing starts with acknowledging and witnessing. I
mm,
see this over and over and over again with my clients. Uh, when they go into that trauma, right? And I deal with so many micro traumas like go trauma, financial trauma, working with entrepreneurs. But the anatomy is the same as whatever created a severe illness, right?
mhm,
It's the blockage of the energy, and sometimes it's just pure horror, right? Like we have experienced something that was so painful that we can't even feel it, so we just go and we hold it in, right? So I've actually just lately started using a term as the term a micro truth commission, like a tiny tiny truth commission, because that's what happens in countries that you have had genocide. They have truth commissions to acknowledge this actually happened.
mm,
Don't put everything under the carpet and pretend we're all right, right? It was horrible. There was pain. There was suffering that you cannot even imagine.
mm,
And we need to honor this was real. This happened, right?
mm.
And we are doing ourselves such a huge disservice when we say, no, 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 that was just, just my emotions. And it's been 20 years. So I've moved on. I'm past that now. It's just putting everything like sweeping it under the carpet and pretending and like that the carpet is going like it's there are big bulks under the carpet, and
Yeah.
we're like, no, I'm fine. No, like this is real. It happened. We need to deal with it. no matter how big or tiny it is, if we deal with it, then we can move on. And we can do that without the pain.
Yeah.
Because things, yes, we will encounter painful experiences in our life. Yes. But we don't have to keep them. We can let them go. And that's when the healing happens.
Yeah.
And you can't do it gracefully. You actually have to go down into the mud, into the yuck, get into the real work, feel the pain. I think it's Dr. Christiane Northrup. She says you have to feel it to heal it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my experience. You have to be able to feel the pain. You don't have to sit in it. You don't have to let it be stuck in your body. You have to feel it, honor it, and release it. And for me, it doesn't matter if it's a physical illness or emotional pain or a financial block. The anatomy is the same. The structure is the same.
Yeah. Which brings us back to what you said at the beginning about the unconscious blockages.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're gonna finish in a minute, but this has been fascinating. I was just wondering, can you? I mean, I don't know if you up for it, but I was wondering if you minded giving us a short demonstration of the tapping. I know a lot of people have heard of EFT, but actually don't know what it looks like and how to do it. Is that? Are you willing to do something?
Absolutely. So, do you have something you want to work on?
um, my goodness.
You asked for it,
Kinds of things I want to work on, but do I want to work on it right now?
but
Um,
do you have something that you procrastinate around, for instance?
I, I guess there is something around marketing that there is always that thing of, yes, I
Okay.
need to do this, but
Yeah. Okay. So just choose, and you just, because we don't need to know the details. We just need to know like the the feeling. Okay. So
mm,
there's something around marketing that that this is the next step you should take, right?
yeah,
Yeah, because this is the same. It's the same for me, right?
yeah,
So there's one thing, if I just would do that, that would move me one step closer to something.
hmm,
So can you choose one of those? The one thing you need to do.
yeah, and I think as I told you before, in my transitioning into really working with people with chronic pain and stuff, it's really about finding my highest authentic message. I think that's something that I'm finding my way around. So really, how to do it? What does it look like? This is something that is like I want it, but it's uncomfortable at the moment.
Okay. So let's use the right word for it. Enough. It's kind of scary, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, there is fear around that for sure.
Yeah. So what's the fear about? Is it being controversial?
Yeah, I think it's about saying the wrong thing. There's two things. There's saying the wrong things to make people angry. Like I've had this experience before.
Mhm.
The second thing is really about, do I have the right to say all of these things, considering I haven't suffered from chronic pain or chronic illness?
Okay. So of those two, do I have the right to talk about chronic pain because I've never had chronic pain? And then the what if people get angry, which
Yeah,
is the biggest one?
I think I think I'm probably the how to say how to give the right messages. I think is probably one that is bigger on my mind than the one that getting angry. I think
Okay. So if you give, what will happen if you give the wrong message?
people won't know about me. I will not be able to attract the right people.
And what will happen then?
Nothing. I mean, I will stay in this invisibility.
So let's go with the other one. What if people what if you said the wrong thing and you really made people mad?
Uh, these days, I think I can. I really do think I can. I can handle it more. like I said at the beginning, when I just finished my training, I wanted to do the mind body connection thing, and
Yeah.
I
Okay,
put them.
enough. Let's go into the emotion.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just telling whoever was listening why.
What if people were to be like really mad? Like you said the wrong thing to the chronic pain community,
Yeah.
and now what will happen?
So you hit on something very important, because now, yes, like I was going to say, I'm better with the anger. I wasn't so scared, but actually what you made me realize is that I'm very okay with the anger in the periphery where I am. I would not go into the chronic pain community. I I don't think I can do that.
Yeah.
I That would scare me. And yes, what will happen if they get really mad? It's
Yeah.
like, I think there's some shame in
Mhm.
the feeling that how dare I to go there and suggest that, I think when the people got angry with me before, they accused me of saying that I said it was in their head. Like, I didn't believe
Mhm.
them. I didn't say that. I promise you, I didn't say that. But
Mhm.
that's definitely what they got really angry about.
Yeah.
So if someone got very angry, I think I would be very, feel the shame and feel really sad that I um, caused more suffering for the people.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just go with that. Like the fear of actually making someone who's already in pain,
Yeah.
and now you're talking about chronic pain, and they feel even worse. And now there's even more pain in the world.
Yeah.
So is it that they feel more pain, or is it the fear of the attack?
I want to say both, but I got a feeling that you're going to tell me that that I need to be more specific. Um, I, uh, I definitely don't want to cause anyone suffering, but I think it will be about me, about that attack. Like, how is that going to make me feel? I will not know what to do with that.
Yes. Okay. So feel the fear of the attack,
Mm.
because this is real, right? When we share the message that we have, some people will be upset, some people will be angry, and people will attack. This happens.
Yeah.
So it's, I would almost say it's not a question if, it's more a question when,
Hmm.
right? So just sit in that someone will, that will eventually happen. Someone will attack me for what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Feel that in your body. So go down, like, not use your, I don't want you to use your head right now. I just want you to go down into your body. Where do you feel that fear?
I am feeling it. Yeah, it's around my chest. It is around my chest. And I'm feeling it. I'm like, ooh,
Okay, brilliant.
hit
So
me.
I'm going to challenge you. Can you see if you can bring it all the way down into your solar plexus?
um, I guess I could maybe do that. It feels more that it's really at the top of my,
Yeah.
like, my chest.
Mhm.
When I think, oh, I'll push it down, it feels like, actually this is where I feel comfortable.
Okay.
So
So it's more in the chest.
yeah.
Okay. So what's happening in your chest?
Um, it feels more tight. It feels the fear for sure. And it feels like I want to. There's resistance. I want to reject that. I don't want that. I don't like it.
Yeah. Okay. So 1 to 10, how big is the resistance right now?
I think I'll give it around a 6, 7.
Okay. So feel that 6, that 7. And if I tell you, hey, enough, it will happen. People will get angry with you. They will attack you. Does it go up?
I can go up. I can get it to go up really, really quickly.
Yes. So if you let it move, like where is it now? Is it like an 8?
Yeah, if I imagine that I'm just about to get into that community and put the message and say, yeah, who is coming to attack me? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's honor that because it's a real fear, like, right? We do not like to be attacked.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we tell it like it is, we will be attacked. So let's do some tapping and let's just honor that fear because it's real. It's so easy to say, oh, it's just a feeling. Feelings, emotions are real.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to show you the points. So the point is, let's see. The first point is where your eyebrow starts so that you can feel the first hair of strands of hair, right? So not your forehead, but where the eyebrow starts. Then the side of the eye, under the nose, in the crease of the chin, where the collarbone meets the breastbone, and then top of the head. So
Mm-hmm.
those are points we are going to use, and let's just tap on that like really short. So you
Mm-hmm.
do what I do and say what I say, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm for
So
it.
yeah, wow. I am just going to say this out loud
Wow, I'm just going to say it out loud
to this community
to this community
with people
with people
that are already in pain.
that are already in pain.
And then the side of the eye, and some of them will not like what I have to say.
And some of it will not like what I have to say.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
And some of them will even be angry with me.
And some of them will even be angry with me.
Mhm. Some of them may attack me.
Some of them may attack me.
They might attack me on social media.
They might attack me on social media
And say, who do you think you are?
and say, who do you think you are?
You have no idea what you're talking about.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
You've never lived with chronic pain.
You never lived with chronic pain.
You don't know what it's like.
You don't know what it's like.
Who are you to talk?
Who are you to talk?
I resent your message.
I resent your message.
You should be quiet.
You should be quiet.
We do not like you.
We do not like you.
We hate you.
We hate you.
How can you even imagine having a podcast about chronic pain?
I was listening. How can you even imagine to have a podcast about chronic pain
And tell us
and tell us
about something that you have no clue about?
and tell us about something that you have no clue about?
How dare you?
How dare you?
Okay, take a big deep breath. Feel your chest.
Yep.
1 to 10, give me a number.
I'm not feeling that stress anymore. It feels like, yeah, it doesn't have that hold on me like it had before.
It was an 8. Give me a number.
Um, it might be a 1. It really does feel like I don't, I don't feel it. So maybe I'll give it a 1 or 0.
Okay. So, how do you feel about marketing yourself, talking about chronic pain to a community of people that actually live with chronic pain?
When I think about it now, I can connect more with my truth, what I already know about the chronic pain, and also the the part of the like someone with a message, because I already know, intellectually, that people, when they suffer from chronic pain, a lot of the time they don't see the bigger picture because they're so concentrated on the pain. I can see that actually, if I have good experience with people, helping people to heal or reverse the chronic pain, I have to do it, right? It's like it's something that I have to. That's my maybe that's my mission. So I can see that I I I didn't see it before.
So, can you see now you're in your head? Now
Hmm.
now you have access to your cognitive brain thinking thoughts. Whereas before the tapping, it was like, oh no, right? And you were laughing, but the laughter was actually the fear, right?
Yeah.
And the fear is not in our head. The chronic pain is not in our head.
Mm.
It's all happening in the nervous system, in the body, because that's where the pain is. So just as your fear of being attacked was in your body, the pain that those of us who have lived with chronic pain, or those of us who are living with chronic pain, it's a real thing. It's in the body. My claim is it doesn't have to stay. I'm not saying it's not real. It is. It's very, very real.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be chronic.
I love that. It's very... Thank you.
You're welcome. So that's how tapping works. We actually deal with what is. We don't try to, like, you didn't hear me say, no, don't feel scared. You're good, right? No, we didn't do anything. And this is what I see, right? People tell me, why do I have to do the negative tapping? Well, the negative tapping is good tapping, right? Because we say things as they are. And emotions are like people. They need to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. Like, you're a mom, right? You know how kids can go like, mom, 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 mom. And you go, yeah, right? And you try to kind of like ignore them, and they will not go away, right? It's like, okay, calm it. And then you give them a few minutes. You look at them, you see them, you hold the space for them, and all of a sudden they run away, satisfied, because they've been seen and heard.
Yeah.
And I find that over and over and over again, emotions are the same. So we don't have to change the negative emotions. We just have to acknowledge them. And most of the time, when they're acknowledged, it's like they vanish. But if you push them down, they will keep, coming back, pushing harder, pushing harder.
Yeah. I felt it on myself, so yes, I'm definitely definitely agree, and definitely, I acknowledge and I appreciate that this exercise, because I really could feel it.
Yeah, and it will come up again, right? When you fine tune your message, and like, whoa, can I really say it like that? Okay, I have no idea. Can I really say it? Like, can I use those words? And then you do it again. New level, new devil, do the tapping all over again. It's like peeling an onion all the time.
Yeah. I love it. Monica, thank you so much for being here and for teaching us your wisdom, and of course demonstrating on me. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.